Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Welcome to another episode of the Peak Performers Podcast. I'm your host, Thor Conklin, and today in studio, or actually in his studio, is Bret Bonnet. He's the president and co-founder of Chicagoland-based Quality Logo Products, a privately held online promotional products retailer selling more than 26,000 items. I actually saw somewhere that you actually had 650,000 items. Is it 29 or is it 650,000?
It's 29,000. It's 29,000 with a bunch of repeats of the same thing. This industry likes to do a lot of copycats. And I love how you got my last name right, but the word products hung you up.
It's difficult. Products. I'm gonna have to practice that. Products. I got Bonnet, but I didn't get products.
Right. I mean, that's amazing.
I don't. Well, you know what it is? I used to own a manufacturing company that had tons of products, and as soon as I knew there was 26,000 of them that you had,
just got nervous.
Jake, it was like, I'm just thinking of my old warehouse and all the stuff that was everywhere.
And we still count it all by hand, so it's okay.
All right. Do you really?
No, not really close.
Goodness. I was like, how'd you make the Inc. 5000 list on that one? All right, we didn't finish the bio. We got to continue the bio.
Sorry.
All right, so stay tuned. So 26,000 items and can imprint your logo or customized messages. Started in 2003 with 10 grand, doing over $40 million and not counting the stuff by hand. That'll be one note for everyone listening. Don't count this stuff.
I didn't say we're profitable.
Yeah, that's right. Now I'm a profitability consultant, so we'll have to dive into the profitability. Also, 7-time Inc. 5000 winner, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done. Dude, 10 grand to 40 million. How'd you do it?
Yeah, I mean, so the story goes, we got a loan. My business partner and I, Michael Winger, met at college. Attended North Central College in Naperville. They had a up-and-coming entrepreneurship program, and we were allowed to kind of petition our business idea to get a grant for $10,000. So it was an interest-free loan from North Central College. And I believe it was also sponsored by the Coleman Foundation. And that money lasted us like 2 or 3 weeks, give or take. We basically did everything ourselves, from entering products on our websites, answering the phone, doing accounting. I mean, it was nuts. It was literally late hours in my basement. Mike and I basically bootstrapped everything. I actually came across an old spreadsheet of mine from 2005. And I had my itemized living expenses and utilities. And, I was like $45,000 in credit card debt because of the company. So it was, it got really dark before it got good for sure.
Yeah. It's so often young entrepreneurs look and they see where you are today and they're like, well, it was an overnight success, or, it was easy. It's like they don't see the countless hours and what's necessary to get a business going.
And the pounds you put on.
So you must have been making money.
Oh my gosh! Oh, sorry. This is most expensive lights in this room. No one thought about that one.
Or you're gonna have to keep waving or something. Is it sensitive?
Well, it's blocked. So I mean, we got about 10 minutes every time. So it's all part of the added effect.
And Bret's out. I love it. All right, for everyone listening on the podcast, the lights just went out on Bret's business. So as Bret said, he might not be profitable. Maybe the electric company's turning off the lights.
It's a sad fact.
All right. Where were we? We got interrupted there.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about the
you had money. You said you actually put on weight. I know a lot of entrepreneurs that can't afford the food, so they end up losing weight. So you were doing okay.
I mean, I was a stress eater. I mean, it was like ramen noodles and McDonald's 2 for $2 cheeseburgers, right? Yeah. So I mean, if you can't put on weight eating that, then you're lucky, I guess. But you probably have a bigger health issue than if you can't put on weight eating that. But yeah, it was a lot of work. The biggest thing was all the employees came and worked out of my house. Eventually, my house had everything set up in terms of everyone had offices in various bedrooms. So I had 3 cats at the time, and so literally the litter boxes were one of my employees' offices. And every time the cats had to go do their business, the employee had to bear through that. Every room in my house except my master bedroom had someone working out of it, including my kitchen at one point in time.
That is awesome. It's funny because I think so often we hear the stories now that so many young entrepreneurs are being trained in not to how to run a business, but how to raise money. And it becomes, very chic to go out and do your various fundraising deals. This is old school. This is the way, we used to create companies. You bootstrap it with your own credit. You got a grant from the college. This is the way businesses were done. And I think you have a better appreciation for what it's like to run your balance sheet, to do the P&L, and what it's like to struggle. I think it builds
when it's your own money on the line, when it's your own money on the line, I think you take things a lot more seriously. I'm proud to say that we're debt-free. We don't owe anyone any money. So if we were to walk away, we'd have whatever retained earnings and whatever we can manage to sell on eBay off our balance sheet type of a thing. So it's a great feeling that no one has that leverage over us.
Now, you've got some really big clients in your portfolio that are clients. How did you land some of these things? You've got McDonald's. I forget some of the other ones that were in there. These are major organizations.
Yeah, they really just kind of stumble across the website. There is no direct outreach. We don't do any kind of outbound sales or phone calls or things like that. When we started the company, originally we baked in our search engine optimization into the website and really kind of focus on the user experience, the technology behind it. And I think they just, through natural discoverability, and then we kind of got them hooked on the QLP cocaine experience, and they haven't ever looked back since. And it's been a blessing. We've got clients who've been with us since day one, and we've got a lot of our employees that even started with us are still there from day one. So culture, working hard, the technology makes a huge difference. There's literally 30,000 people who do the exact same thing we do in the space, but we're one of the few that do it the way we do. We've got a lot of patented technology, and that really lets us kind of set ourselves apart. And we're definitely like a tech company that happens to sell promotional products.
Interesting. So what can you talk about that sets you apart? Because everyone listening that owns a business today is always saying, it's so difficult to separate yourself and
Sure.
stand out in the crowd. How have you done it? Because your website, it's a basic website. There's nothing, flashy about it. It works. What's the secret?
Oh, it kills my soul. No. So the website, it's one of those things where much of it's behind the scenes for sure. So what makes Quad Local Products super unique is our no surprise pricing. So any kind of business, any kind of industry where the goods are primarily customized, there's a lot of variables and unknown, and it's very unlikely that anyone's going to give you a price up front. Like if you're going to build a house, for example, the guys want to come out and look at it and see what work needs to get done before he gives you a price. We're the polar opposite of that. Through no surprise pricing, the second you land on our website, we give you a guaranteed total and when you're going to get it. And I know that sounds like pretty straightforward because when I go to Amazon and I buy a book, I know how much it's going to cost and when I'm going to get it. But that's something off of a shelf. And we're taking it, we're decorating it, we're packaging it, we're shipping it. There's a bunch of customization options that you can do. And we've used our data to kind of build our pricing so that we know the most common order configuration. So even though, let's say, one configuration costs more than another, we know that we can sell them for the same price because of the chance of that other configuration that's more expensive popping up isn't going to kind of put us in the red. So we've really just simplified the heck out of what was normally a very complex, long, and really unnecessarily difficult process. And it's made a huge difference. That's why 2016, 2017, we did more than $5 million additional revenue. And it's been gangbusters ever since we put that live.
And all of the products you inventory in your facility?
No, going back to the whole hand picking thing, we actually are a drop shipment. So we don't actually fulfill any of the orders ourselves. We facilitate the order process, take care of the customer artwork, and send it off for printing.
Got it. Okay. That makes it. I'm feeling better now. I can breathe a little bit better.
I don't want to do production logistics. That's not my thing.
Got it. Data. You talk an awful lot about data being king and understanding. I like how you said, we're really a tech company that actually does this. Tell us the importance of the data. What are you using it for? And where do you see a lot of entrepreneurs missing the boat when it comes to this?
Well, I mean, I think the struggle in the first place with data is getting it in a place where you can actually use it. So all of our software and technology is homegrown. So we're not using like Sugar CRM or any kind of like Salesforce. So we can't go out and just buy that off-the-shelf plugin and just instantly get beautiful charts. So organizing that data was a multi-year project that we set out on, and we accomplished that at the end of 2016. And we have a full-time data analyst on staff who her whole job is to sit there and go through our numbers, make suggestions, watch things. And we also have someone who is full-time user experience in terms of behavior, watching user sessions, interviewing them, everything we can to make the process easier. So we let the customers drive the business. There's no pride, there's no ego, there's no what I want. It's always what the customer wants. And the data has helped us unlock that. The moment we got that Tableau license, which I think maybe I'm pronouncing that right, I don't know, but that thing unlocked tons of opportunities for us.
Interesting. I noticed that the #1 bestseller is stress balls. What's that saying about today's business or our environment?
I mean, people are cheap. No, I'm just kidding. No, that they come in a lot of different shapes and sizes, so it's really kind of hard not to like a stress ball, because you can find any shape you want to meet your needs. And again, they are also very expensive. I mean, I refer to stress balls as like the gateway drug promotional product, because they are inexpensive. They do fit a lot of different verticals, industries, and it's kind of like how you get hooked in the first place.
Have you considered putting out a presidential line or something? Political figures, like squeeze their faces.
We could. I try to keep as neutral as possible. But we do have like Republican, the elephant and things like that, and the different shapes. I'm the farthest from politics that there is. I just zone it all out.
I'm just thinking, what else you could make a you got the little brain thing, you got the ball.
We have the prostate. I mean, that counts, right?
There you go. Or what about ex-husband, ex-wife? How's that?
We could do that. I mean, or we could do the new wife, a new husband.
A whole new lane for you. Interesting. And also, I noticed what I found striking was that you actually had not only pennies, but fractions of pennies on some of the products.
Yeah. So when you're doing bulk, so all the stuff we do is in bulk. I mean, you can do some items as few as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but mostly you're probably looking at average order quantity between like 100 and 300. We try to provide customers as many price breaks as possible in those ranges, and incentivize them to buy more. And so, unfortunately, when you have like an 11-cent item, the next price break might be 10 cents. Yeah. So we try and give you that extra half of a cent fraction back. It's not about to make things difficult, but we do get super precise with our pricing. I mean, it's the amount of code and development that goes into our pricing logic and presentation it's insane.
And companies are obviously buying these products to promote their business. If you had an opportunity to sit a CEO down in a room for 5 minutes and say, okay, look, these are some of the common mistakes that I see that other people try to use when they're giving away promotional materials. What's kind of best practices? What should people be doing and thinking about when you're doing it?
I think the first thing it comes from is people look at sometimes promotional products as like maybe a expense, like they pay for the utility bill, like any other kind of variable expense, and they don't really understand the opportunity that's there because they haven't really maybe used it or seen the success with it. So they kind of discount the product's ability to help, as a marketing channel. So they come into that mindset, and when I'm at the grocery store, I see rice. There's the name brand and there's the store brand. I'm like, dude, it's white rice. I mean, what could be the difference, right? So they go and they buy the store brand, and next thing you know, they're like in the hospital and they got food poisoning or whatever from rice. I hear that happens all the time, and so they immediately kind of the mind space kind of has them go start shopping on price. And I love price. I like to save some money, but it's amazing what like a penny difference can be on the quality of the product. And the product is a reflection of your company. So if you've got something that has your name on it and it breaks, they're going to remember that. That's not what you want to be associated with. So they come in with the mindset that they don't understand the value of the product. They shop purely on price. And then they end up being disappointed that they could have, I saved $3 on my sale, but these there are certain things that cost money. You can't get away from it, and that's usually where the disappointment ends. And then not having a plan on how to use them, distribute them, mailing these things costs a fortune. I mean, as soon as you go bulk mail, anything that's kind of a little bit chubby in an envelope, it's going to cost a lot to mail. So, darn it. I was waving to try and prevent that. Woohoo! I'm back. And so this has got to be a first, right?
I love this.
Yeah. So, it's distribution plan in terms of handing them out, things like that. It's definitely a physical medium. And it's interesting because trying to get like a millennial to pick up the phone these days and make a phone call versus like sending me a Facebook Messenger thing at 3 a.m. asking if they can get T-shirts requires human interaction, right? Distribution. And I think people are just also forgetting that that's how we operate as a species.
Yeah. Interesting. Years ago I had a company which was a consulting company, and I needed people to call me if they had a problem. So I went out and I bought a whole bunch of old boxes where you used to put in the fire alarm, had the little hammer, had the glass, so you break the glass, so you pull the thing down. Well, I took the glass, I took the hammer piece and the frame, I mounted it on a piece of wood, and inside there I had an old cell phone that obviously didn't work. And there was a plaque underneath it is, if you need a quote, emergency, break the glass and call me. Well, what do people do with it? They put it on their wall in their office, and it was a constant reminder. Every single day I was staring them in the face. My competitors, they may, if they didn't have anything, they weren't being viewed. And
did you assemble those yourself?
I did. I had about 80 clients.
Where'd you get the fake phones?
eBay.
Really? So you bought broken phones on eBay?
The old flip phones and stuff. Yeah. And then just kind of glued them in there. But it was a promotional, item just to be front and center. And it's
a great idea.
So important.
Super unique.
Yeah. It just come up with something that, keeps your name in your face and your, you in front of them. So I think this is a space that I like what you said also is that, this is not a space to figure out how to shave a couple, pennies. Spend a couple extra dollars and get something that reflects well on your image of your company. I think that's and the
ironic thing is, like, the cost per impression on promotional product is a fraction of any other advertising medium. And I mean, I don't know if you use AdWords for any of your businesses or your shows, but I mean, the marketplace for bidding on keywords, the cost per keyword is so expensive that we're literally point in time we're giving out people $10, $20 bills. I mean, even more if you're in mesothelioma realm. That's a lot of money just for maybe somebody wants to look at your business. So,
and for a second or a fraction of a second, that's it.
Yeah, it could be, and it could be a robot, and they're not going to buy. They might not have cancer. So what are you going to do? So you got to make sure you put your marketing. It's tangible and it just lasts.
Yeah. I always think about the HVAC contractor that puts out the magnets, and they put it on the refrigerator. It's like, I'm not going to need this phone number or who this person is unless my AC unit goes out. But when the AC unit goes out, what do you do?
Right there. Yeah.
You go to the refrigerator. It's like, I knew it was going to be right there. Great.
And it costs him like 6 cents.
Right. And it sticks around forever or until you throw it out. What are some of the, you've had a very successful business run with your brother, your best friend are in the business, and you talk a lot about, what a blessing that is. Some people can't figure out how to make that work. They can't figure out how to make partnerships work. They certainly couldn't work with their brother or their sister. What are some of the secrets to your success in that area?
I have nothing to do with the success. It's all them. Mike, my business partner, my best friend, my brother from another mother, basically. He is the most patient individual, and I think we have the utmost trust with each other. I mean, we've got 2 locations. He operates on one location, I operate on the other. His does not have motion sensing lights, so, I guess, that's just a side note. And, so we work together, completely trust each other. It's been great. In the 15 years we've been together, never had a fight. Like, not even like a minor disagreement, nothing like I'm not talking to you. I don't know. It's part of God's plan. That's all I can say for that. My brother, I have a lot of respect for him, and generally it's really easy for me to get along with somebody if I respect and admire their abilities. And even though he is my blood, he's completely polar opposite of me. And he's the most brilliant developer that I've ever come across in my life. I'm not just saying that he's my brother. He's just sees everything from what it is. Like, he sees the whole playing field like Tron style. And he goes out there and gets it done. So huge parts of our success. And, talent, skill, personality, they make it work, and it's been a great run.
Interesting. So I like that. One of the reasons it's working is that you're in separate locations.
It wasn't because we need to be separated, but when we ran out of rooms, we needed to have somebody who we had a faith that would make sure things got done, right? Like, you can't trust employees too much.
That's true. Is anybody still in your house?
No, thank God. My wife is very appreciative of that fact.
Were you married at the time when everyone was working there?
For about a year I was, yeah. So
wow.
I met her when I first started the company, and through our engagement and our first year of marriage, it was still going on.
Wow. She's a keeper. She is.
She's lucky too. I mean, come on, look at this.
Well, that goes without saying, man.
Sure. All right. I appreciate it.
But willing to go through all of that, that's a great point.
Yeah, she's a very special woman.
Some of the things that we do in business, we look back on and just quite frankly say, we were absolutely brilliant. I can't imagine anybody else doing anything better than what we did. And then sometimes you look back and you go, what was I thinking? What are some of those things that if you had the chance to rewind the clock and say, let's try this one again, what would you do differently?
I mean, I put most of those memories behind me.
My job is to dig them up.
No, yeah, to pull that one out.
I'll just
on demand.
Gloss over it.
Earlier in the segment, I mentioned like I was proud of how we privately funded everything. We didn't take any loan, no debt. I go and I look outside companies, not so much in our industry, but other industries. And I'm like, man, like how are they growing that quickly? And I think maybe that debt that I took on in the beginning really kind of scorched earth me in terms of taking on debt, loans, and money, really put a perspective on cash on hand is so important to me because I know how unhealthily I was stressed out when I was under that debt. So had we maybe taken on some money, some debt, given up part of the equity, whatever it would have been, we could have probably be much farther along than we are now. And that living with that what if, obviously nothing near like a Facebook moment, but like where could we have been if 5 years from now we had taken on some money because, we don't do anything, whether it be a capital expenditure, hire, a highly compensated employee, something like that, unless we can actually pay for it in the cash. And that definitely does stunt growth, but it also means that day's end, if we mess up, I'm the only one to blame and I don't have to, answer to somebody else.
Yeah. And you got 100% of it. Whoever owns, you're not diluting the equity for anybody else coming in.
Sure. And as a small business owner too, I mean, equity is one thing, but days end, like equity is only as good as the person who's going to buy it at the end.
Well, that brings up a good point. What's next for the company? What's the plan? Keep growing it, keep it, sell it?
Yeah, we're actively involved in a couple of different avenues under some NDAs, so I can't say too much. But this industry is prime for a lot of private equity, and it's also a lot of you mentioned like, do you inventory the stuff? Do you resell it? There's definitely some vertical integration going on, and I'm proud of what we've built here at Quiet Logo Products. We've been approached by a lot of different parties, and we're looking to disrupt the industry and this has been good. Don't get me wrong. I like it's making money, but I'd like to do something different, not out of the space, but I would like to at least disrupt things and give it a go and, take that risk.
Interesting. That private equity is my background. I was a consultant to that industry. So it's very interesting that you mentioned that because that's what I was thinking as well. What a great opportunity to start a platform, start bolting these things on, acquire them for 7, 8, 9, 10x, take it out, leverage it up to 17, and then one day take it public. Is there anybody public in the space?
There's a couple. The only one that I'm fully aware that's public that's just purely promotional products is Thor Imprint Group, and they're traded on the UK exchange.
Sure.
But that's the only one that I know is like true. I mean, there's like Staples, right? Staples is office supplies. Yeah. So they have Staples as a division, but the only pure play that I know is public is Thor Imprint.
Interesting. Would you be interested in heading up and CEOing a platform like that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think Mike and I, one thing I've learned is that, any business, I mean, not to like sound arrogant, which I guess I am, is I think we kind of walk in everything but production and do it really good. We know how to hire the right people, locate the right people, and I think we have what it takes to do that. That's what I think that's what we're looking to do, him and I, is, this has been great. We got this. It's only going to go so far. let's see what else we can do in terms of future endeavors. And I would love to oversee something like that. I think it'd be fun. And it would probably require me to relocate. Been telling the wife, we got an 18-month-old. I'm like, don't get too excited about this, because if this happens, like, this is my dream and I don't give a darn about anything else, I'm going to move and do it.
You don't have to complete the house. You don't have to worry about the inspectors. Before we came on air,
I can burn it down. I mean, I've had so many dreams about me doing that it might actually become a reality. Well, is it a crime to burn down your own house? I mean, what if I don't claim it on insurance? I'll have to ask my attorney.
It's not a crime to burn down your house, unless there's a fire restriction in your town. Then it might be illegal from there. But
I thought it was a bonfire. The marshmallows got out of hand.
Well, sometimes you got to have a permit for a bonfire.
I guess a really big one.
That's right. And then make sure the cat litter box is there out, because you don't want to burn that cat litter. It could be toxic fumes.
The cats are long gone. That was a big mistake. Dogs forever.
See, so you're getting smarter.
I mean, it only took me 15 years.
There you go. So if you're a private equity firm out there and you're interested in getting into this space, you better act fast, because it sounds like this deal might go fast. So contact Brett quickly.
Yes, no comment.
Start a bidding war. This would be great. 10 years from now, we're looking back and like, how'd the bidding war start? Well, I was on this podcast with Thor, and Thor just threw it out there. Let's start a bidding war.
I care more about the fit than the money, though, for sure.
All right, so So any excess money that you don't want, I'll give you my wiring instructions after the show. You can just send it to me.
We'll put in that little safe behind you.
That's right. Not much is going to fit in there unless it's crypto.
Yeah. Don't even get me started on that.
Now I lost my train of thought. Take over the show, will you? I'm done with questions.
I mean, I could try and sing, but I'm terrible, so I'm gonna quickly move to make sure the light stays on, though, while you're pondering your thoughts. All right, I'm back.
All right, so I want to end with, and then I also want you to tell the audience how they can get in touch with you, but I want to end with, if you had some advice for some new entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs that are kind of stuck in doing things, the same way, because I find, it's easy to kind of get into a rut. I remember someone saying the difference between being in a groove, being in a rut, and being in a grave is only how long you stay there and keep digging. And very often in businesses, if we're not evolving, if we're not becoming a better version of ourselves, it's very easy to get overtaken and quite frankly, not be relevant anymore. So what kind of advice would you give someone?
Yeah, I mean, I think complacency is death. One of the things that Mike, he's very good at, he's like basically a mini Tony Robbins and always motivating the sales team is, to keep reinforcing that fact. You're only as good as the last sale. Always keep improving yourself, challenge yourself to do better. It's more than just selling promotional products, things like that. The piece of advice I would say with that is it's tough. I mean, it takes a special kind of person to be successful. I mean, money can solve a lot of shortcomings. Don't get me wrong. I think not someone I'm actually maybe answering the question properly, but my best advice would probably be, if I was to go back and do this again and kind of, space-wise, I would avoid anything that has to do with, unable to control my destiny as an entrepreneur. That's one of the big things that really, attracted me to my own boss. And it seems like 10 years ago, yeah, I was running the show. But, now in this day and age, it's the big guys, the gatekeepers, like, especially when it's online, like Facebook and Google, Bing, trying to, they really choose the winners and losers. And that's intrinsically, that's something that really kind of eats me up inside, because you get the best product, the best service, the best anything. But an algorithm that thinks that it's self-learning is going to pick the winners and losers. I mean, that is demoralizing for someone who believes in the harder you work, the more you get paid, the more success you have. So I haven't figured out what industry is immune to that quite yet, though. But, when I do, I'm going to go into it.
I like that. It's called Google.
Yeah, I mean, if you
create your own platform.
If you can't beat him, you got to join him, I suppose.
Well, what I also heard come out there too, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs, I know a lot of entrepreneurs miss this as well, is business is a contact sport, and it takes a lot out of you and it requires a lot of you. And one of the things when you're not at the office, you're not at work, you've got to figure ways to take care of yourself and recharge the batteries and be there. this notion of, hey, I just keep going and going, and I'll wear this badge of honor that I sleep, 5 hours a week, and I'm just, plowing through, eventually catches up to you. So I think, make sure that you're the best version of you when you get into that office and ready to do battle. So that's great stuff, man. I really appreciate it. I've had a lot of fun. The lights, I'm sure, are going to go out one more time, which will be fun.
You can't see it, but I'm actually kicking my legs in the air. I'm just that flexible.
That's why we only do the interviews from the waist up. Tell the audience how they can get in touch with you, and so they can order some promotional products. Yeah,
so the best way you can touch us with us is to hop on our website. It's a mouthful. It's qualitylogoproducts.com. Just make sure, I say products much better, no offense. And our toll-free number is 866-312-5646. We're open all the time and ready to help. And, you'll find out, give us a call. We're very passionate about the space. We're not just order takers. And just don't ask for me because I'm never in the office. But anyone else will take excellent care of you.
That's great. I love it. Don't ask for me. If you want something done, don't ask for me.
I haven't put an order in probably 10 years, and there's a reason for that.
There's a reason for it. They keep you from that. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on. Are you going to be on the Inc. 5000 an 8th year?
Certainly, yeah. I mean, it's. I think we will be. We definitely killed the revenue estimates. The Inc. 5000 always depends about who did more right, and unfortunately, it's not relative. It's not industry specific, but even if we don't, which I'd be shocked if we didn't, I'm happy to announce that we are climbing up the ranks within our industry stats, that we're now the 13th largest distributor of promotional products in the country, and that's up from 25 the year before.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on today.
It was a pleasure. I had a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.